I hate the way you talk to me, and the way you cut your hair. I hate the way you drive my car, and I hate the way you stare. I hate your big dumb combat boots, and the way you read my mind. I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme. I hate the way you're always right. I hate it when you lie. I hate it when you make me laugh. Even worse when you make me cry. I hate it when you're not around, and the fact that you didn't call. But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all. Oh, hello. Didn't notice you there. I set up the whole camera, but still, I always say I didn't notice you there because, reasons. Anyway, welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. Given Valentine's Day is around the corner, again, because that's how years work, I've put up a poll on my Twitter, link to my Twitter and other socials in the description, by the way, and the option that won the poll was to talk about my favorite romantic comedy of all time. Admittedly, I haven't seen that many romantic comedies where I can, at least when compared to other aficionados of the genre, so to speak. However, I have seen enough to where I know that I have a favorite among them, and that favorite, as the title already gave away, hello, is 10 Things I Hate About You. Directed by Gil Younger, I assume that's how it's pronounced, in his debut, written by Karen McCullough-Lutz and Kirsten Smith, and starring Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in their breakout roles. The movie is marketed as being based on The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare, but in truth it really only takes the initial premise, some of the characters, and then adapts it to a more contemporary setting. In this case being the modern American high school. And good on it because the play absolutely sucked. Full credit to the bard and whatnot, but that particular play does not do him, his legacy, or his ability justice. If we are to be, realistic. So, given that, what can be said about the movie? Well, a brief synopsis would go a little something like this. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character finds himself smitten with a girl, but later finds out that that particular girl's father instituted a rule according to which she can only go out on a date if her older sister, played by Julia Stiles, also goes out on a date. In order to circumvent that rule, he enlists the help of an infamous student of the high school, played by Heath Ledger, so he can date the older sister. It's actually surprisingly hard to summarize this movie when you're not using the names of the characters. That being said, the plot is not necessarily too complicated for this, for the genre, and it is surprisingly flexible insofar as it allows for narrative developments. Most of those developments are focused around Stiles and Ledger's characters, who are both outcasts who, in order to learn about and get to know each other, have to go through, have to kind of sift through all of the lies and gossip and innuendo that has been, floating around about them. And in learning to separate who they really are from what other people say they are, they gain a greater understanding of what it means to be together, and what the influence and impact of other people genuinely is. They are still high schoolers by the end of, or they are still young adults by the end of the story, but they are more level-headed and more well-adjusted young adults by its end, more capable of discerning what really characterizes a person versus what has been put upon another person. The younger sister also goes through a character arc. However, her character arc is not necessarily based on who she's dating, but rather on the kind of romantic partner she has to move away from. The movie flirts with the idea of giving her a love triangle, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character on one hand and the villain of the piece on the other. I won't say who he is or what his role in the plot is, but I will say that the villain of the movie pretty much functions as a perfect thematic counterpoint to the message of the movie. Arrogant, brash, shallow, and vain, he cares for nothing except for pleasure and renown, and will step over anyone in order to get what it is he wants. The this is admittedly nothing too deep or complex, but really in a movie that is all about looking beyond the facades that are built by people and around people, having a villain who is basically a self-absorbed man-child and therefore nothing but facade, it does serve its purpose. Regrettably, that does leave the younger sister's character arc somewhat underemphasized, given that one of her potential romantic leads has to split his attention between trying to seduce her and having to keep the older sister away from him. However, that being said, she still ends up faring better than Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, who ultimately really is only the token good guy that the younger sister is supposed to gravitate towards. I appreciate the fact that he does call her out and challenges her on her immaturity, which in turn causes her to take a deeper look at herself and what it is that she's actually about. However, overall, the movie still kind of hangs him up to dry, even though he's the one who started this whole mess in the first place. Another thing I have to mention that is maybe not that important in the big scheme of things, in the large scheme of things, but still bothers me, is that pretty much all of the adult characters in this movie are none of them are mature or really level-headed. There is nothing wrong with not having adults act as mature or level-headed all the time, and in fact, plenty of adults don't always act mature and level-headed. If we've learned anything from the past 2 years, I think it's precisely that. And part of growing up means realizing that adults are flawed people, and that in order to grow up, you need to confront your own set of dilemmas. However, the message that the movie is going through really comes across as undercut when there are no functional adult characters within the setting, which is kind of disappointing. Regardless, there are various other aspects that make this movie work very well. For one, the scripting is well done. You can pretty easily follow what's going on, even if it's not spectacular. However, I do need to point out just how good the dialogue is. It's the kind of snappy and fresh and energetic dialogue that a lot of high school movies from the late '90s also had, and it is always very enjoyable to to look at and to listen to it. The acting, for the most part, is pretty good across the board. With the standouts, however, are definitely the leads of the piece. And by the leads of the piece, I mean the characters played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Heath Ledger, and Julia Stiles. You can very obviously tell why they had such great careers after this movie. Also, there are various, there's a whole slew of flourishes that make various moments throughout this movie that much more memorable. The soundtrack of the movie is amazing and can be listened to in isolation, and it would be at least as much fun, etc., etc. I could go on, but I have to stop somewhere, so I'm just gonna stop it now. Overall, while this movie does show its flaws every now and then, I think I think it more than stands the test of time and shows how you can do a romantic comedy and also wrap it up in a more complex and in a more meaningful message than just figure out who you want to be. In this case, being this is how you learn who other people really are. My final rating for 10 Things I Hate About You is a 4 out of 5. And that was my review. Thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and maybe even share it wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add about any part of this video, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.